Imagine this, a janitor in a spotless corporate building, holding a mop in one hand and quietly humming a lullaby while cleaning the marble floors. His voice is gentle, soothing, carrying something rare, heart. But what he never imagined was that his voice, the same one he used every night to calm his own little boy, would soon change the life of the most powerful woman in the company. Before I tell you how, let me remind you, if you love stories that touch the heart and inspire hope, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next one. It all started with Daniel, a single dad working as a janitor in one of the largest corporations in the city. His wife had passed away when their son was just a toddler, leaving him to juggle 2 jobs while raising his boy alone. At night, after tucking his son into bed with a lullaby, Daniel would go to work at the company's headquarters. Cleaning offices, emptying trash bins, and polishing hallways became his nightly routine. To get through the loneliness of the night shift, he often sang softly. It wasn't meant for anyone but himself, it was a way to carry his pain and remind himself of home. But one evening, as he sang while wiping the large glass windows of the CEO's floor, a sharp voice cut through the silence. "Excuse me. What do you think you're doing?" Standing in the doorway was Victoria Hale, the CEO herself. Her reputation was infamous, powerful, cold, and completely intolerant of distractions. Daniel froze. I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't realize anyone was here." But Victoria's expression hardened. "This is a place of work, not a concert hall. If you can't focus on your duties, you don't belong here." That very night, she fired him on the spot. Daniel's heart sank. He pleaded, explaining that he desperately needed the job to support his son, but her decision was final. Humiliated and crushed, he left the building with tears in his eyes, unsure of how he would put food on the table. What Daniel didn't know was that on the very same floor, behind a slightly open office door, Victoria's young daughter, Emily, had been curled up on a couch. Emily was different from most children, she was autistic, and for years, sleep had been a struggle. Medication, therapy, countless bedtime routines, nothing seemed to work. That night, however, she had drifted into peaceful sleep for the first time in weeks, and it was to the sound of Daniel's voice. The next evening, when Victoria tried putting Emily to bed, her daughter cried and shook her head. "No. I want the singing man." Victoria was stunned. "Who?" Emily insisted, "The man who sings. He makes the scary go away." It didn't take long for Victoria to realize that her daughter was talking about the janitor she had just fired. For the first time in years, Victoria felt helpless. She had built her empire by being in control of everything, yet when it came to her own child, she was powerless. After hours of sleepless tossing and turning with Emily crying for the singing man, Victoria did something she had never done before. She swallowed her pride and went searching for Daniel. She found him the next morning, standing outside the building with a folder of job applications in hand. He looked worn out, a man on the edge of despair. "Mr. Daniel," she said, her voice softer than he expected. He turned, surprised to see her. "Mrs. Hale, I don't want trouble." She shook her head. "It's not trouble. I need to ask for your help." Then, for the first time, the powerful CEO admitted her weakness. She explained about Emily, about how she hadn't been able to sleep peacefully in years, and how Daniel's voice had done what no doctor or therapist ever could. Daniel stood speechless. Part of him wanted to walk away, still stung by the humiliation of being fired. But another part of him, the part that was a father, understood. He knew what it felt like to do anything, absolutely anything, for your child's well-being. He agreed. That night, Daniel returned, not as a janitor, but as something much more important. Sitting by Emily's bedside, he sang the same lullaby he used for his son. Her breathing slowed, her body relaxed, and within minutes, she was asleep. Victoria, watching from the doorway, covered her mouth as tears slipped down her cheeks. For years, she had felt like a failure as a mother, yet this humble janitor had given her daughter peace in a way she never could. Days turned into weeks. Daniel became a regular presence in their home, singing Emily to sleep, sometimes even telling her gentle bedtime stories. Slowly, Victoria began to see a different side of life. One where kindness mattered more than money, where patience and empathy were more powerful than authority. She learned that Daniel's singing wasn't just talent, it was born out of love, pain, and the strength of a father who had fought every day to raise his son alone. The more time she spent watching Daniel, the more she realized how wrong she had been. He wasn't just an employee she dismissed, he was a man of dignity, a man who reminded her of values she had long buried beneath her career. Eventually, she offered him his job back, not as a janitor, but as something far greater. She asked him to be Emily's personal caretaker and music therapist, with a salary that could finally provide security for him and his son. Daniel accepted, not out of desperation, but because he felt a bond with Emily, and even with Victoria, who by now